Everyone. So we're back. I'm sorry that I'm late today. I know I usually do my live at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays. However, I did a whole heartfelt live, or so I thought, to a blank camera. So it did not record. I'm not too sure what happened there. So I'm hoping that this is showing up. I'm not sure how you can do a live and it not be there. So you'll either see two or this one, hopefully. So I want to talk a little bit about change, and as you know, I usually discuss my blog. So this week's blog was about change and 8 strategies to open your mind to change. And we're going to start with that, and then I have a few things that I want to talk to you about that I'm finding really upsetting right now and that really fit into this topic of change. So the topic today, 8 strategies to open your mind to change. Accept the idea of change. That's a tough one for a lot of people. We get very set in our ways, and just accepting change is really hard. So I just challenge you to open yourself up to that, because it does make it a lot easier if you allow for the fact that change happens. And number 2, see that change implies progress. So as things change, it progresses. And I know that can be really hard when you get used to something. You know, I was talking this morning about a game that I play on my tablet, Scrabble, something, pretty old school. And they've upgraded it now, and as of this week, I can no longer play it unless I play the new version. And it just stresses me because there's so much going on in the new one, and I won't play it because it's too much. But change is good. Like change, if we, stuck to the old things all the time, nothing would change. So everybody deals with change in different ways. But just some of the ways to make it easier. The one is it implies progress, change. So recognize that change introduces unknowns into your life. So recognizing that can help with the stress of it. So if you're someone like myself who has suffered from anxiety, I suffered from anxiety for years. And so changes can be really anxiety ridden. And recognizing change and allowing for the fact that it does bring those unknowns into your life almost lets you, or it lets me now, realize that I don't have real control. So the more I try to control, the worse it gets. So it's about breathing into it and letting it go, right? Because there will be unknowns in your life, and recognizing that definitely helps you deal with it. Be ready to experience the newness that change brings. So when you allow yourself again to sort of step into that newness, and sometimes it can be really amazing, right? I know quarantine has been incredibly hard on a lot of people, and I get that, like to the point where people have lost their lives. But for other people, the change has been amazing. And so maybe this change isn't the best change for you, but some change is going to be amazing for you. Maybe a new job you have, maybe a new house you find. And we often don't know how great that change is until after the fact, right? Because we get caught up in the negative. So I'm just really wanting to reiterate. Hi, Karen. Thank you. I was here twice now. So just recognizing that newness of change and how it can be very good. Believe that change can be transformative. Like I said before, change can bring so much to your life if you allow it. If we get caught up in the negatives of it, it can be really burdensome. Whereas if we can get caught up in the positives of it, it can open up our lives to so many things, right? Losing a job can be devastating in the moment, but you don't know what's right around the corner. Maybe a better job, maybe you start your own business, maybe you move because of it. You don't know. So just allowing, that transformation into your life. Notice that a wider array of choices often accompany change. So like I was saying, we get so set in our ways that we often don't make change or don't want to make change, but when we do, or it's forced upon us, so many other things can come into our life because we've made room for it. Maybe not on purpose, but we've made room for it. And then also viewing change as the spice of life. So the excitement that can come with change, right? So that can be so exciting if you allow that feeling, as opposed to allowing the fear of it to get in the way for yourself. And then number 8 is tell yourself that you can adjust to change. So talking yourself through it, feeling the feelings, but then allowing yourself to actually be okay with it, right? So feel the feelings of angst, feel the feelings of fear if you need to, sit with those, but then know that it's going to be okay, right? Whatever's going to come, you're going to be able to handle that. So just tell yourself that you can adjust to change. So now I wanted to start with that because I always talk about my blog. Each week I have a theme and I want to share that with you because I think it's so important. And today I'm also going to share a little bit more about change and what's going on in the world, because I actually recorded a whole live on this and was in tears at the end and devastated that it didn't actually show up. Doesn't matter. Obviously that was not the one that was meant to be seen. But I want to talk about what's going on in the world and about the change that's happening. And there's a couple of big things happening right now. So number one, well, maybe not number one, but one of them is quarantine, or the release from quarantine. So a lot of places in the world are opening things up a lot more. And now we have to personally make choices for ourselves. We have to decide, which brings a lot of angst. And so when, yes, Karen, I know, right? I had the same problem. Sorry, just reading Karen's comments. So the angst that comes from having to make those choices ourselves now, right? We have to do what's in our best interest. We have to look after ourselves. And some people may not be able to do that. If you have to go to work to pay your bills and there's no longer the funding in place because we're not in lockdown anymore. If you have to put your kids in daycare because you have to work because the funding's not there anymore. Like, I understand that you don't always have choices, or you feel like you don't have choices. So the change can be really scary, as it's so important for us to look after ourselves now. We have to still do the best for ourselves. So the scientists have said, we're not done. We're not done with this yet. So I'm going to just really encourage everyone to be mindful and to be vigilant. I personally have immunocompromised people in my life, so I wear a mask. I take Lysol wipes with me everywhere. I make sure that I am constantly cleaning my hands and anything that we bring in the house, anything like that. So I just want to talk about the fact that I do understand that change is difficult, and this change, being responsible for yourself now, not being told to stay in lockdown, can be really hard and can be really difficult for people to navigate. If you're having any angst about that, you need somebody to talk to, shoot me a message. Just send me a message. I really want to be more wary of my language. Send me a message and we can talk. There's lots of different things that can be done to work through that anxiety. Also, what's going on with Black Lives Matter. And I've talked a lot about this on my personal page and in my personal social media, but I have not talked about it in my business. And I think it's important as a business owner to step up and talk about it, and to it upsets me so much, to take a stand as a business owner and share my thoughts on what's happening. I find it devastating, and I understand it's been going on for such a long time. It's been going on for so long, and the uprising that comes with that, it comes from frustration and trauma and just sheer not knowing what else to do. We tell Black people to protest the way we think they should, and they try to talk to us and we don't listen. They try to take a knee and we don't listen. They try all these different things and we don't listen. So what do we listen to? We listen to violence. We listen to groups. And a lot of change in our world, because so many people get so angry about this, and a lot of things have changed in our world because of what looks like anger. Well, no, it is anger. What looks like violence is that final frustration. If you look at women's rights 100 years ago, and the protests and the broken windows and the fires started back then, because they tried and tried and tried and nobody listened. You look at the LGBT rights 50 years ago and everything that they tried and nobody listened until they rioted in the streets. And we still haven't 100% fixed those problems, but we're a lot further along. So if we're not going to listen, this is what's going to happen. And I know as a white person myself, it's easy for me to talk about it, but if I'm not doing something about it, then I'm just a part of the problem. If I'm not talking about it, I'm a part of the problem. If I'm not standing up vocally, verbally, physically, I'm part of the problem. And so that's one of the reasons I decided I needed to say something in my business. I'm going to share a few different resources if you don't know what to do and where to start. One is a book by Layla Saad called Me and White Supremacy. It's actually a 28-day challenge that you can do to sort of step into more knowledge and learn more, understand more. I've also got a list of children's books on racism that I'm going to share, and I've got a list of 75 things that white people can do for racial justice. And those are just a few things that I have found that have helped me sort of figure out what I can do. And I just want to share those with you, and I'm hoping that you'll see them in the same way, that it's a resource for you, because if you don't know better, you can't do better. But if you know, and you know where to start, and you know how you can help, it can help change the world. And when I first started I've been recording for over an hour now, trying to get something to show up, and I'm really hoping this is showing up. Although, Karen, I see you, so I know it is. I went on a bit of a rant, so I'm kind of glad the first one didn't take. But I just want you to know that I see you, whoever you are, whatever you're going through. And I do understand when people say all lives matter, but that's not the point right now. Right now, we need to stand in solidarity. We need to stand for those who are trying so hard to be heard. And right now, the message is Black Lives Matter. And that is really all colors of black, browns, all the minorities that are not being heard and are mistreated because of it. And racially, the prejudice against them and the racial profiling against them is unbelievable. And in Canada, we have a few different issues. Majority issues here with our police and things are Indigenous peoples. However, it doesn't stop there. It's all races, except white. So we need to stand up for everyone. But the message right now that we need to pay attention to is Black Lives Matter, because we are the people of privilege and we need to stand beside them. So I'm going to get off my soapbox. And I hope that you heard what I said from a place of love and not, I don't want you to think that I don't think you're doing anything. I just want to help provide some resources in case you don't know what to do. So I will put those with this recording. And I hope for a better tomorrow. I know this is going to take time, but the more people who step in and step up, the more that we can get done. All right? So I wish for you an amazingly creative day, and I send love to everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening in. Please remember to like, share, subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. You can find us at www.creativeyou.ca.